And now, the moral center of the Daily Mojo, Dan Andros.
I've always thought it was a bit of a scam, but I've never thought about him as evil. And this woman is saying, hey, you've opened demonic doors if you go to a tarot card reader and have him tell your fortune. Are you opening? Well, according to her, I guess you're opening demonic doors. Is there something to that from your side?
I think so. And this is Jenn Nizza, who we interviewed. We've talked to her a few times. She's an ex-psychic. She used to kind of be in that world. She became a believer and is now out of that world. And she was warning because Jesse Waters, and I think they were doing it trying to be silly or whatever. But
right.
The starting point you have to have is, especially from a Christian worldview, is the spiritual realm is real. Like, this is not silly time. Like, we have souls. There is, in Ephesians, it says we're not in a battle of flesh and blood. We're in a battle against the spiritual forces of wickedness. So there is a spiritual battle going on. And you also see throughout Scripture, time and time again, there's these, there's divination. There's these, basically, the psychics, and they would try to, speak to these spirits, and it's a thing. And so the danger there is, and because when you see it in Scripture, there's no positive time of like, hey, like, let's go to the diviners. It's like, hey, don't practice divination. That's wicked. That's evil. So it's I don't know that anyone can say exactly how it works, but I think you can generally draw the conclusion that this is not a good idea. And if anything, it could open the door to that. And so why do it? There's no upside here. So and you're right on the scam thing. Like, there's nobody, they're not telling you your future, right? Like that's just, it's not happening.
Well, Nostradamus did.
And all this stuff.
You
but
don't believe in
they
Nostradamus?
use trickery. Like, yeah, I know Nostradamus, but the trickery they use, because a lot of people use that, like, kind of the fake, like, I don't know, they've got I don't know what you call it, but sort of a pattern, right? Like, they can narrow things down. Like, I'm hearing something from a relative, right? Like, and it starts with a G, an RSTLNE, something like that, and you're like, wait a minute, those are
my
the Wheel of
Uncle
Fortune
Grant.
letters.
My Uncle Grant. You were telling me about. Yes, my Uncle Grant.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Your Uncle Grant.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and then they go down this rabbit trail. They make, like, some of the TV guys, like the Edwards, what's his face, he would have, like, the producers write down information, and then he'd use that information. They'd have people talking in his ear, and he'd tell stuff. So
right.
But Billy's, and I'm kind of more, and most of these people are scammers. Billy's in the camp of, he thinks that you can open these, doors, kind of like how Jenn Nizza is saying, and that you can really get into some bad things. And but the point is, there is a spiritual battle, and there are forces of wickedness out there, and you don't want to mess.
No
with
doubt. No doubt. And I agree. We're in a spiritual battle. And I also agree that, we have souls. Call it what you will. And I can hear people. It's the electrical energy. If you're a scientist, it's the electrical energy that runs us. You take away that electrical spark, we're gone. But you can't destroy that spark. You can't destroy that soul, that spark. And it is always, because I've investigated several haunted houses, supposed haunted houses, and Ron can tell you that in at least the one we went to down in Mineral Wells, I sat in part of the attic and said, all right, come on, show yourselves.
He sure did.
And, Ron was too much of a sissy to get in there with me. But they never showed themselves. And I sat in the haunted house. Well, at the time, it was supposed to be the most haunted house in America. It was down in, it was the Myrtles Plantation in Louisiana. Did the same thing. Come on, bring it on. But that seems to me to be kind of the same thing that they're saying here. Well, if you start calling on these spirits to show themselves to you, you're opening a door to the demons, which I never really thought I was. Never felt like that's what I was doing. I mean, I'm not, should I say this? I'm not afraid of demons. I mean,
well,
I'm not challenging them. I'm just saying I'm not afraid of them. I'm not going to be, I'm not on their side. Let's put it that way. I'm on the side of good. And so, you can't scare me. I've got, as Jack Reacher said, I've got righteousness on my side. So I just never looked at it this way as seeing, it being a demonic door opening when you're dealing with,
I would say,
quote unquote, fortune tellers.
That's interesting about not fearing them. I haven't really thought that one out on where I would stand on that, because in a grand scheme of things, I don't fear them in that Christ has power over them and is going to, end Satan. We read in Revelation, it's just with a word, just going to cast him off into the lake of fire. And all of that's going to be defeated. And so Christ wins in the end, right? Like, I'm not worried about, oh no, the demons are going to win. But demons are a lot more powerful than humans. So if we try to mess around with them on our own, that's a lot of probably not going to end well for us, right? Here on Earth. So
I don't want to have my legs and arms ripped off of me by a demon. I'll just make that point
and all that stuff.
Right, exactly. That would freak me out. I would say if they, like in what is it? Not Insidious. What's the other one? The Japanese one where she like climbs backwards. Remember that one where it was all freaky?
No.
The Grudge. Did you ever see? No, The Grudge.
Oh, The Grudge.
Terrifying. Yeah, the demon in that thing was you and Ron.
I don't either. Why?
What is wrong with yourself through that? We don't like watching snuff films. I mean, wow. What is wrong with us?
Come on, that's not a snuff film.
Why put yourself through that mess?
Watch and listen at thedailymojo.com.